It's really interesting to see profile picture NFTs, PFPs, changing and evolving. We're seeing this move away from the big 10,000 PFP drops where you have a predefined collection created by the artists or the creators of the project to something a lot more customizable. We've seen this with Disco Solaris bringing out their Mobius Pioneers. You can check out that interview in the top right-hand corner there. And this particular project here, Flooftopia, are doing it for their game space. So when you're playing a lot of games, you'll be creating your own character. You can customize it to anything that you want, the head size, body size, the features, and everything around it. So Flooftopia are taking that idea and concept and then integrating it into their game, but allowing you to mint that as an NFT as well. So you can always save and hold on to that asset and maybe use it somewhere else in a different ecosystem later on. So it's really interesting what the team are doing here. And they've just released their testnet beta here. NFT testnet is now live. So you can go through and actually play around with the platform itself. And I did go through and have a little bit of play with this and create my own NFT behind it as well. So here you can see you can change the size of the head, the height of it, the depth of the features. You can change the eye size, the orientation of the eyes, nose, the mouth as well. And I think this is the ears. Yeah, you can change the different ears and you can change different assets of the ears as well, which is pretty cool and interesting what you can do. Then later on, you can also change the color and the styling of the actual character too. And then click on create and you can actually mint that through their platform here. Click on yes, and then you can connect your wallet, and there you go. You can go ahead and mint your own customized Floof NFT. So Conwood joins me on this episode to talk all about this builder tool and some of the really cool innovations that they're bringing to the GameFi ecosystem, not just in Cardano, but broader cross-chain and bringing in that whole level of interoperability as well. Right, let's get into it.
Yeah, gotta do it like that. You've been listening to the Learn Cardano podcast. Gotta get it hype. Crypto is what we like, but this is not investment or financial advice. Gotta do your research, cause it's risky. We know it is. This show is educational and it's informative. Crypto's the future, really, it ain't no debate.
Conwood, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me on. It's an absolute pleasure. Loved watching your channel grow and everything you do. It's pretty great.
It's been a lot of fun. It's been quite a journey. And I think we started both around the same time as well with your YouTube channel, your stake pool, and everything else around it. But you splintered off and created a game now. And I'm really interested in what you guys have been building. Can you give us a little bit of an intro about what the game is and how you went about it?
Oh, of course. So to kind of give an introduction on how we got to where we are is, just as you said, started making content, did a YouTube channel as well, started doing a podcast, and met a bunch of people within the Cardano ecosystem. And at one point, I had an idea for Flooftopia. I was like, okay, how about we build a game, and we build one that I can go into detail more, of course, but with a couple of innovations, and one of those being our build an NFT functionality. And I thought, okay, I think this is a good idea. I don't know where to even begin. So when I interviewed AdaQuest, I reached out to them like, hey, I've got this idea. I want to make it happen. What should I do? And they helped give me a little bit of guidance. I got to work with their team a bit, and we started to work and build this. And it brought us to where we are in the current era. So we finally got the testnet set up for that build NFT. We've been working on the game development as well as the world. We've been doing screenshots. It's been a wild ride.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of previews in there. I thought it looked pretty cool. It looked really interesting. And the idea of being able to build and create your own NFT is a really interesting construct as well. But one thing that kind of puzzled me was, how does rarities or the tradability of that particular NFT come into play? Because there's one aspect where the NFT can be like a stored record of your gameplay, and you can always move it around. But then also that collectability and tradability of NFTs is another really cool aspect. How does the rarities work in that? Because everyone, like if something's really popular, like a hat of some sort, everyone can just use that hat. How does that work in the game?
So it's actually quite interesting. When we were developing the NFT, of course, people kept asking us, well, does it have a rarity? something that's interesting about our project is technically it has two. One is, for example, there are certain parts of the NFT beyond what you're creating. So you get that floof that you've made as what we call them, floofs. And it has, for example, a unique background, unique foreground, unique items within it. So that is that level of rarity. But also what's cool about it being custom, so that, for example, a user can go to flooftopia.org or will be able to go there, go to customize and build their NFT, choose the ears they want, change the ears, rotate them, change the size, choose the eyes, all these customizations, and you get almost a community-based rarity as well. So you get that typical rarity you're looking for with an NFT, and some NFTs will be rarer than others, but you get that community-based rarity. So for example, if not many people pick these ears or that ears, then you'll be able to see that percentage. And it's kind of cool because it has two levels to that.
Gotcha. Okay. But like, can a user just see one that exists and then just copy all those traits and make their own clone of it?
They can try. So outside of the rarity, for example, for the items that we talked about, that's determined not by the person who's creating it, we have a set pattern. So you can, for example, pick a certain pattern. Let's assume that you can get it very, very close. Because again, these can be decimals different. And while you can try and create it, it's still very difficult to make a duplicate. We can set or have it set so that the pattern starts at a random seed generated. So for example, whilst you might be able to try and make it look identical, mathematically, it's nearly impossible.
Gotcha. Okay. No, I like that. I really like that approach. Now, can we talk about the game a little bit? I know you got a little demo video and the creation of this and whatnot. So can we go through that and have a look exactly what you guys have built?
Oh, of course. I can show you that. The game, we don't have the gameplay just yet, but I can tell you all about what we've been building with regards to the game. And I have tons of screenshots I can show as well. This is the first iteration of the build an NFT functionality, so we do have plans to update, make a few changes, etc. But I wanted to show this off, and I'll go through it slowly. So as you can see, even in this, you'll be able to, again, go to our website. You'll be able to click Mint, and then you'll be taken to a floof like this. You'll be able to choose, for example, here, the head shape. If you want it to be a square head, you want it to be oval, more egg-shaped, you'll be able to do that. If you want to change the height, the length and the width of the head, you'll be able to edit that as well, and everything follows with that. So for example, the eyes follow, the nose follows, the mouth follows. And you can see you can rotate it as well. So if you want to get a different perspective on your floof, you can. And you can see we're now going over to the eyes. Again, you can change the size. So if you want small eyes, you can do that. If you want bigger eyes, you'll be able to do that as well. And again, we have rotation. And that's very important when you have, for example, where you can make it more wedged. So you can make a happier looking floof, a little bit angrier looking floof. And of course, we do have colors as well. And something to note here is that right now it's very 1D with regards to the color choices, but we're updating that as well. So a lot of this was getting the technicals put together. And now we're able to kind of work on the cosmetic side a bit.
Very cool. Very cool.
And so again, you've got different noses that you'll be able to pick from. And so you can see a trunk, you've got kind of a dog nose. That's the one I kind of go towards. You can change the size, move it up and down so it fits the mouth how you want it to fit. And then of course, we got a couple of different mouths. And again, you can move that up and down to make it fit and change the size. So if you want a surprise Pikachu face, you can kind of go for that. Or if you just want a vampire or a rabbit one, you can do that as well. Now, here I kind of jump back to change the rotation, mess around with it a bit, change the color. But the ears are where we start seeing some additional customization. So not only can you affect, for example, the size. So if you want big ears, maybe you want them to be shorter to make it look more like a teddy bear. And you'll be able to do that, change the rotation, and of course, choose from your ears. We've got a couple of those. You can see it's just, you have all this level of customization, and all of this information goes back into the metadata. So you can build it, it goes into that metadata for the NFT, and then it'll be rebuilt for the game. And here you can see different lengths of fur. You got short, medium, and long. and then you can choose the color. And again, we plan to include more pastel colors as well.
Very cool builder. It's pretty much like the character builders that you see on a lot of games that are out there already, any role playing game where you create a character. It's very similar to that.
Oh, exactly. And I'm surprised no one else had been working on building this within the crypto or Cardano ecosystem. If we're building games, and of course, here's the patterns I was talking about. But if you're building a game, you don't want to do like a grab bag for a random 10,000 randomly generated NFTs. You want something that you build and you kind of have invested interest in, and then you'll be able to play with that. And the cool thing is with this customization and Cardano working on, I believe it's SIP 68, you'll be able to have all that customization all right there.
That is really cool. Yeah, those dynamic NFTs are bringing a whole new dimension to gaming and everything else around it. So as your character progresses, maybe it earns a new perk or something, and you can add that into your character later on.
Oh, exactly. And so here, as you've been seeing, we have it so that the camera will rotate, of course. You can edit the size, choose. Each of these items has their own custom rotations and sizes, because each tail, for example, won't be able to work if they weren't. So we are able to have that customization. Then you just plug in the address that you want it to go to, or your NFT once you mint it. And then you would send here just 10 testnet ADA. And then it tells you how long it's reserved for. So you just have to mint it within that period of time. And for example, if you mint it and you're like, I kind of want to make something similar and mint another, you can always click back to editing, go back after you've sent for example, 10 ADA. Of course, we'll be announcing the price later on. So it'd probably be somewhere around 100 ADA. But for the testing purposes, it would be testnet ADA. And so you can see here that we've got different variations, including this one. So that's kind of what
that's cool.
Well, that's the minted version. And you can see we've got, for example, different foregrounds, backgrounds, and including the skies and items as well. So this is a legendary one, and we have that level of rarity there. And the community rarity is like the horns, the mouth, the nose, things that they would be choosing, the ears, the rotations they set, things of that nature.
That makes perfect sense when you demo it, and then you can see which rarities and which aspects all become part of the NFT. So that's really cool.
Oh yeah, so it's so much work, and we're so happy to get to this point. It's been a labor of love, per se.
So how long has it taken to get to this point, and what's next on the roadmap for the game and the platform?
Oh, it's taken about a year and a half. A lot of it was getting, for example, a company upstarted, getting everything rolling, and then onboarding people, because we started during a bull market, and then it went into a bear market, which was fine because we were fully self-funded. So we quite literally put our money where our mouth was when developing this. And the next steps for this obviously are to get the testnet up and running, make sure that we move into a closed testnet, and then we'll be announcing these, of course, then going into an open testnet. So those who have for example, Flooftopia founder pass will get first access during that closed testnet phase. And they'll be able to mint their floofs on the testnet. Then we open up to the entire public for open testnet to make sure there's any bugs, any breaks, for example, that we're incentivizing that information to be brought forward, and so that we make sure that everything runs smoothly for when we get to the mainnet. After that, it's doing the Flooftopia mint. We actually want to lease this build and NFT technology to other projects as well, because we want this to become a standard. We want, at least personally, I want to move away from the 10,000 randomly generated NFTs. To me, that was great back when, but we can do so much better. And that's what we're doing with this. And we've actually had many blockchains, because we had a member go to GDC recently in San Francisco. A lot of blockchains reaching out, wanting us to build this and move it over onto their blockchains as well. It's something that the ecosystem has needed. And that's going to be the next progression, is taking this tech and making it a mainstay. And then, of course, developing Flooftopia further and getting to where we have our alpha and beta launch.
Super, super exciting. Can you give us a little bit of an overview of the world that you're building and what users can expect to be using their characters for once they mint and interact with the Flooftopia universe?
Oh, of course. To talk a little bit about the gameplay, it's a social MMORPG. So there's no PvP. It's got conflict without combat, which is a unique decision that we made from the onset to develop a family-friendly or kid-friendly game that's not kid-exclusive. So, for example, you and I would be wanting to play this. For example, my wife would want to play this. Have a game that you work with the community and even have a little bit of competition between different villages, for example, because while you can build your own house, you can partner up with other people to build a village, and that provides its own benefits. So it's really quite a unique experience that we're building. You'll have skills and professions just like you would in any other MMORPG, but you'll be using these skills and professions to progress, to level up, and it's really just going to be an amazing experience. We went with Flooftopia from a innovation and build first, mint later mentality. And because, for example, we want people to come to Web3 and want to play this game, not play it in hopes that they make money and then the game kind of comes second. We wanted to go, okay, we're going to build something that will bring people to Cardano, that will bring people to Web3.
Very cool approach. And some Web3 game developers do forget that it is about the game. Like, sure, the NFT, the tokens, and everything else around it is how you generate money and keep the game sustained. But yeah, if people don't enjoy the game itself, what's the point? You have all these tokenomics and all these real cool economics in the game, but no one's playing, so it won't succeed. So I think that's the real key thing here, and I like that you took that approach. Now, you said something a little bit interesting a little bit earlier when you went to that gaming conference and some other blockchains were approaching you guys. So the character creation, I'm assuming you do want to go full cross-chain, but will the Flooftopia universe also be a cross-chain ecosystem where other wallets and other blockchains can connect to it?
At first, we originally were planning to be just on Cardano, but we realized with the technology that we had built that we can help to realize Cardano's goal as a third generation blockchain, which is interoperability. So we definitely intend on building on other blockchains, having that interoperability between Cardano NFTs, Cardano FTs with Ethereum, virtual machine based blockchains and others. If we could get a universal wallet that allows for interaction for all of these, we would absolutely love that, because while, again, Cardano's got a special place in my heart. It's kind of I took the trip from Bitcoin to Ethereum to Cardano and kind of landed in Cardano. But being able to bring other people into Cardano, or to bring Cardano, some people to kind of step outside a little bit of Cardano and be able to see other blockchains and see how we can all work together, that would be excellent. So yeah, we definitely for Flooftopia have plans to work with other blockchains.
Absolutely brilliant. Okay, the future is definitely interoperable, but the future of gaming, I think, is also very concentrated and focused on mobile as well. What's the experience of this? Is this a desktop experience, mobile experience, or will you go both platforms? What's the plans with that?
The aim would be both, but almost certainly desktop's going to be first. It's just a lot easier to build because we're building an Unreal Engine to build it with the idea of moving to mobile in the future and keeping that in mind with regards to resources. But to build on desktop, while, for example, a large player base is on mobile, you're absolutely right. For connecting wallets and things of that nature, we probably will stick with desktop first and then move to mobile.
Very cool. Yeah, I have to say that the whole mobile DeFi experience is very clunky. Switching from your wallet to something else and back and forth and whatnot. It's a little bit clunky at the moment, but hopefully that experience improves in the future.
Oh, agreed. It's having to switch between apps is not a easy. Whereas, for example, you can have two monitors on your desktop, so you can have a wiki or have something open in one end and then have the game in the other. Mobile does not do that as well. But again, I don't know anybody who doesn't have a mobile phone. So it's very much a give and take. Yeah,
I can't wait. All right. I'll put all the links to everything in the show notes so people can find more information about the founders' past, more about the project, and join with their community as well. So I'm looking forward to it all.
Awesome. Again, thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure. And again, I love what you do, and I can't wait to see what more you do.
Now, if you're interested in the project, you can find out more at flooftopia.org. Links, everything in the show notes down below for you guys. So if you really enjoyed this podcast episode, if you really enjoy this innovation and things that people are building and integrating in with blockchain, please give me that thumbs up, click subscribe, click on the notification bell down below, and I'll see you in the next video.
Yeah, gotta do it like that. You've been listening to the Learn Cardano podcast. Gotta get it hype. Crypto is what we like, but this is not investment or financial advice. Gotta do your research, cause it's risky. We know it is. This show is educational and it's informative. Crypto's the future, really, it ain't no debate.